What if I told you that 90% of wealthy families lose their fortune by the third generation? It's a brutal statistic that haunts the ultra-rich, but today I'm going to show you the 20 assets that the remaining 10% use to break this curse and keep their wealth flowing for centuries. These aren't your typical investment tips. These are the closely guarded secrets that turn money into generational empires. Before we dive into these wealth-preserving assets, let me ask you something. When you think about building wealth, what comes to mind? Stocks? Real estate? Crypto? Most people focus on growing their money, but the truly wealthy think differently. They focus on preserving and multiplying wealth across generations. There's a massive difference between making money and keeping money in your family forever. The families that maintain their wealth for centuries understand something fundamental that most people miss. They don't just invest in assets that grow. They invest in assets that compound, protect, and transfer seamlessly across generations. Today, you're going to learn exactly what those assets are and how you can start building your own generational wealth foundation, regardless of where you're starting from. Let's begin with asset number 1, and this might surprise you. Private family businesses. Not just any business, but specifically businesses that can operate independently of the founder. The Walton family didn't just build Walmart and walk away. They created systems, governance structures, and leadership pipelines that ensure the business thrives regardless of who's running it. The key here isn't building a business that depends on you. It's building a business that works without you while still providing income and equity growth for your family. The second asset that keeps families wealthy forever is intellectual property. Patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets can generate income for decades or even centuries. Think about the Disney family and their intellectual property empire. Mickey Mouse has been generating revenue for nearly a century. The beautiful thing about intellectual property is that once created, it can produce income with minimal ongoing investment while appreciating in value over time. Our third generational wealth asset is prime real estate in growing metropolitan areas. But here's the twist that most people miss. It's not just about buying property and holding it. Wealthy families buy real estate that becomes more valuable due to infrastructure development, population growth, and economic expansion. They don't just buy real estate, they buy the future growth of entire regions. Asset number 4 is something most people have never heard of, but every wealthy family owns. Mineral rights and natural resource holdings. When you own the rights to oil, gas, precious metals, or other natural resources under land, you're essentially owning assets that the world will always need. These rights can generate income for generations, and their value often increases as resources become scarcer. The fifth asset is diversified investment portfolios, with a focus on dividend-paying stocks from established companies. But wealthy families don't just buy and hold. They create systematic reinvestment strategies that compound returns over decades. They focus on companies with strong competitive moats, consistent dividend growth, and the ability to weather economic storms. Now let's talk about asset number 6, which is absolutely crucial for generational wealth. Private equity and venture capital investments. Wealthy families don't just invest in public markets. They get early access to high-growth companies before they go public. This requires significant capital and connections, but the returns can be extraordinary. More importantly, these investments often come with influence and board positions that can benefit the family for generations. Asset number 7 is something that might seem old-fashioned but remains incredibly powerful. Agricultural land and farmland. Food will always be necessary, and quality farmland is becoming increasingly scarce. Wealthy families have been buying productive agricultural land for centuries because it provides steady income through leasing, potential appreciation, and a hedge against inflation. The 8th asset is education and human capital development. This might not seem like a traditional asset, but wealthy families invest heavily in education, skills development, and network building for their children and grandchildren. They understand that the most valuable asset is a well-educated, well-connected family member who can identify and capitalize on opportunities. Asset number 9 is strategic partnerships and joint ventures. Wealthy families don't operate in isolation. They form strategic alliances with other wealthy families, successful businesses, and influential individuals. These partnerships can create investment opportunities, business deals, and protective relationships that benefit multiple generations. Our 10th asset is precious metals and gemstones. Gold, silver, platinum, diamonds, and other precious materials have maintained value across civilizations and economic systems. While they might not provide income like other assets, they serve as insurance against economic collapse, currency devaluation, and political instability. Asset number 11 is art and collectibles. High-quality art, rare collectibles, and cultural artifacts can appreciate dramatically over time while providing enjoyment and status. Wealthy families often build museum-quality collections that become more valuable as the artists or items become historically significant. The 12th asset is life insurance policies structured for wealth transfer. Specifically, whole life insurance policies and irrevocable life insurance trusts that can transfer significant wealth to the next generation tax efficiently. These policies can provide liquidity for estate taxes while preserving other assets intact. Asset number 13 is private lending and debt instruments. Wealthy families often become private lenders, providing capital to businesses and individuals in exchange for regular interest payments and security. This creates steady income streams while preserving principal if structured properly. Our 14th asset is technology companies and digital assets. The modern economy is increasingly digital, and wealthy families are investing in technology companies, software platforms, and digital infrastructure that will drive future economic growth. This includes everything from cloud computing companies to digital payment systems. Asset number 15 is international diversification through foreign real estate and investments. Wealthy families don't keep all their assets in one country. They diversify globally to protect against political risk, currency fluctuations, and regional economic downturns. This might include properties in stable countries, foreign bank accounts, and international investment vehicles. The 16th asset is water rights and environmental resources. As population grows and climate change affects water availability, water rights are becoming incredibly valuable. Families that own water rights or invest in water management companies are positioning themselves for long-term wealth preservation. Asset number 17 is healthcare and biotechnology investments. Healthcare is a growing sector that will only become more important as populations age. Wealthy families invest in pharmaceutical companies, medical device manufacturers, and biotechnology firms that develop treatments for chronic diseases. Our 18th asset is infrastructure investments. Roads, bridges, utilities, telecommunications networks, and other infrastructure assets provide essential services that generate steady income. Many of these investments are backed by government contracts or regulated monopolies, making them relatively stable. Asset number 19 is franchise systems and royalty-generating businesses. Instead of owning one restaurant or store, wealthy families invest in franchise systems that generate royalty income from multiple locations. This creates scalable income streams that can grow without direct management involvement. Our final asset, number 20, is family governance structures and wealth management systems. This includes family constitutions, next-generation education programs, family councils, and professional wealth management teams. These structures ensure that wealth is managed professionally, family conflicts are minimized, and each generation is prepared to steward the family's assets responsibly. Now, here's what most people get wrong about building generational wealth. They think it's about picking the right investments or timing the market perfectly. But the families that maintain wealth for centuries understand that it's really about creating systems, structures, and cultures that protect and grow wealth regardless of individual decisions or market conditions. The key is diversification across multiple asset classes, geographic regions, and time horizons. No single asset will preserve wealth forever, but a carefully constructed portfolio of these 20 assets can create multiple income streams, appreciation potential, and protection against various risks. But here's the most important part that nobody talks about. Building generational wealth isn't just about accumulating assets, it's about preparing the next generation to manage and grow those assets responsibly. The families that lose their wealth usually fail because they don't educate their children about money management, business operations, and financial responsibility. This means creating family education programs, mentorship opportunities, and gradual responsibility transfer systems. Children need to understand not just what assets the family owns, but why those assets were chosen, how they generate value, and what their responsibilities will be in managing them. Another crucial element is tax planning and legal structure optimization. Wealthy families use trusts, holding companies, family limited partnerships, and other legal structures to minimize tax liability and protect assets from creditors, lawsuits, and other risks. These structures also facilitate smooth wealth transfer between generations. The timing of wealth transfer is also critical. Rather than waiting until death to transfer assets, many wealthy families begin transferring ownership and responsibility gradually, while the older generation is still alive to provide guidance and oversight. This allows for course correction and education while minimizing estate taxes. Insurance plays a vital role in protecting generational wealth. Beyond life insurance for wealth transfer, wealthy families carry significant liability insurance, property insurance, and specialized coverage for unique assets. They also consider political risk insurance for international investments and cyber liability insurance for digital assets. Estate planning goes far beyond writing a will. Wealthy families engage in comprehensive succession planning that addresses not just asset transfer, but leadership succession for family businesses, charitable giving strategies, and conflict resolution procedures. They often establish family foundations or charitable trusts that can benefit society while providing tax advantages and family involvement opportunities. The psychological and emotional aspects of generational wealth are equally important. Many wealthy families struggle with issues like entitlement, lack of motivation, and family conflicts over money. Successful families address these challenges through family therapy, structured communication processes, and clear expectations about family members' roles and responsibilities. Regular family meetings and communication are essential for maintaining family unity and ensuring everyone understands the family's financial situation, goals, and values. These meetings provide opportunities to educate younger family members, discuss investment strategies, and address any concerns or conflicts before they become major problems. Professional management is another key component. While family members need to understand and oversee the family's wealth, most successful families also employ professional wealth managers, investment advisors, tax specialists, and estate planning attorneys. The key is maintaining family control while leveraging professional expertise. Diversification should extend beyond just asset classes to include geographic diversification, currency diversification, and even political system diversification. This protects against country-specific risks like currency devaluation, political instability, or adverse regulatory changes. The most successful wealthy families also maintain liquidity reserves that can cover family expenses, investment opportunities, and emergency situations without requiring the sale of long-term assets. This prevents forced liquidations during unfavorable market conditions. Risk management is an ongoing process that requires regular review and adjustment. Asset allocations, insurance coverage, legal structures, and investment strategies should all be evaluated regularly and modified as circumstances change. Finally, the most important lesson from families that maintain wealth for generations is patience and long-term thinking. They resist the temptation to chase short-term gains or make emotional investment decisions. Instead, they focus on steady, consistent growth and preservation strategies that compound over decades and centuries. Building generational wealth requires a fundamental shift in mindset from short-term profit maximization to long-term value creation and preservation. It means thinking beyond your own lifetime and considering how your financial decisions will affect your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. The 20 assets we've discussed today provide the foundation for generational wealth, but remember that the specific implementation will depend on your unique situation, goals, and resources. Start with what you can afford and gradually build your portfolio of generational assets over time. The key is to begin with the end in mind and consistently work toward creating a legacy that will benefit your family for generations to come.